Alrighty, to our automotive enthusiast friends that can be found all over the place on this great big planet Earth, you've done it again. You've pressed play on yet another...
Kevin, another supercharged episode of V8 Radio.
Supercharged. Have we used that before?
No, we have not.
Do you keep track of all these overselling adjectives?
Absolutely.
Oh, right on. All right, well, this is a supercharged episode of the V8 Radio podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Oeste, joined as always by our esteemed co-host, Mr. Mike Clarke.
Hey there, and I have to give credit for this overselling adjective to our good buddy Trevor from the shop.
Trevor is generally supercharged.
He is, all day, every day.
He drives a supercharged vehicle and everything.
Hey, well, it's perfect.
His, what year is that, a 13 ZL1?
I think so.
Yeah, nice. All right, well, at once it was charged, and now it is more than that. And we also, at the beginning of every V8 Radio episode, supercharge our imaginations and our recollection of nonsense through the automotive trivia question.
Yes, we do. But before we get started, we have to have a word from our corrections department.
Oh.
On our last episode, I asked you a question of what STP stood for, and you said scientifically treated petroleum, and I laughed in your face because that was not my answer.
Correct.
But in fact, you were correct, as it did start life as STP did start life as scientifically treated petroleum. So credit goes back to you, sir. You got that one right.
Nice. The corrections officer had stepped in and
he did. Oh. He made some threats and said things about my mother. So I had to make sure got that straightened out.
Nice. Well, and I think it came across in that last episode. I was fairly certain that it meant that. You
were very certain.
And over time, if it changed, it changed. But at least I wasn't entirely wrong. So that's good.
No, you were completely right. So credit, sir. Yardley, mark it down.
Oh, right. Yes. Well, we'll get into that a little bit too in a few minutes. But first of all, have you prepared a trivia question?
Indeed. And since I had to eat some crow and give you your correction, you're getting some more Corvette trivia. So
great.
Here we go.
Nice.
So, okay, Kev. So what was the first Corvette whose only transmission offering was an automatic?
The first one.
The first one.
That
first
was
year.
Only an automatic.
Correct.
This has supercharged Trevor Spence written all over it.
This is actually not supercharged Spence.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't we have this question before?
I don't think so. We've had some Corvette trivia, but I don't think this particular one. If any of our listeners can recall it, drop us a line and let us know.
Yeah, I want to say that it was the 1984 Corvette. Although I'm going to backtrack on that because I think this is all deja vu.
All over again.
And I think so. We have to explore what the definition of automatic is.
No clutch pedal.
Okay. Available.
Correct.
You can't. Yeah.
Could not get it.
All right. So I think that's a C8.
Oh, really? Oh. Interesting.
Right? Because I think there's
I don't know.
I think there's a paddle shift up and down, but I don't know. Is there a manual? I know you wouldn't be telling me the answer because it wouldn't be the part of this competition. Okay, so there's some trickery in this one, and some of it is like it's because it's modern and it doesn't need the clutch pedal to give you that experience, even though it's an automatic transmission. But I don't know that the manual was ready for the 84, and which ended up being a T5 transmission. Because I remember in 86 they were talking about how it was the dawn of the 6-speed, I think. Or at least the world-class 5-speed.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So
that
brings us to...
This is what I get for getting the answer right last time.
That's right. No good deed goes unpunished, sir.
All right. I'm going to say it's the C8 just because I'm going to live on the edge.
C8. All right.
And there you go.
Duly noted. All right. What do you got for me?
All right. Well, it's nowhere near that. In 1971, our friends at Oldsmobile revolutionizes the big car ride with an exclusive new suspension system. What was it called?
What was the marketing name for it?
Yes.
Oh, and 71 Oldsmobile with their revolutionary suspension system.
Yes, for the revolutionizing the big car ride.
The big car ride. Okay. Let's see. You had like your 88s, your 98s, your big Oldsmobiles. Those were your father's Oldsmobiles, by golly. We will call this, because I have absolutely no idea.
But, at least I had a little bit of an idea.
Yeah, at least you did. We're going to call it the Apollo ride.
Ooh, wow.
To harken back to the space age and the technology that it took to get us to the moon. I'm going to say Oldsmobile took a page out of that book.
The Apollo ride.
Apollo ride.
All right. We might have a little bit to talk about when we reveal the answer to this riveting trivia question and others. So stay tuned to the end of the show, right? If you
Can't wait.
Yeah. So where were we before that? We should say that this episode is coming to you from a brand new location.
Yeah, we are live in studio again.
Yeah, both in the same room. And it's actually a room this time and not a garage. This is the V8 Speed and Resto Shop home mothership office, my creative center here now that we've expanded into.
Kevin's think tank.
Yes, my think tank. And we're sitting right next to the Kevin Oeste Automotive and Aeronautical Library.
Yes, we are. Great titles you have over there, too.
Yeah. Someday I'll get a chance to read them all.
And the Rock and Roll Library. You got your Billy Gibbons book there, too.
There is. There's some Billy Gibbons. There's a Frampton book in there. There's a Sammy Hagar book down there. There's some rock and roll. Well, hot rods and rock and roll, right?
Hand in hand.
And then, of course, the space program stuff. Maybe even something on the Apollo ride.
Maybe.
And we're also being supported by the Desk-O-Matic 2.
Man, everything is coming together in this episode.
Yeah, it really is. So if you're familiar with the Desk-O-Matic 2, it's a vintage 67 drafting desk that I obtained that has been restored thanks to Jeff, our painter, in the V8 Speed and Resto Shop, and myself. And it's all functional, and now it's doing triple duty as the broadcast console.
Yeah, this is perfect. We can only do episodes from here now.
It's comfortable. Yeah,
it is.
I mean, it's cold outside, which is why we're not in the garage so much. But there's a few other things I would like to point out and thank our good friend, Mr. Ed Tilrock. We've got some of Tilrock's art prints on the walls here in the office. One of which is the Hirohata Merc image.
Right.
In this mythical San Diego or Palm Springs mid-century modern setting. And that image to me is like the ultimate fantasy.
Yes, that is you all over the place right there.
It's a backyard. It's a blue sky. It's some palm trees. It's an in-ground pool. Some chaise lounges. It's missing a couple of cocktails, I think, in the picture, but I'm sure they're just out of frame.
Right, exactly.
And then
they're being poured.
As you view this image, you're just lovingly glancing across your pool to the legendary Hirohata Mercury custom on the other side. And it's an amazing piece. You can see it on his website if you go to edtilrock.com, I believe. And then there's a couple other Tilrock images on the walls,
there
too.
Are. He's such an amazing artist.
He's the best.
He is.
And he's such a great guy. The other one that's really interesting is there's the image of the Lincoln Futura concept car parked on the street in a city. Mm-hmm. And if you start to get closer, you realize that the Lincoln Futura was the basis of the original Batmobile. But in this image, it is not the Batmobile. It is still a Futura. And there's a gentleman running towards the Futura, holding his hat and his overcoat. Mm-hmm. And then down the street in this little city, it's not a little city, it's a big city, up in the sky, is a beacon shining up into the clouds. And almost like the bat signal, except it's not the bat signal. It actually has the Futura logo on it. But Ed has named this image after what's going on. And what he's depicting here is that the Futura has not yet become the Batmobile. And the guy leaving the theater is actually Bruce Wayne, which was at the moment when his parents were killed, which was the night before he became Batman.
Oh, man, oh my gosh.
So the car hasn't metamorphosized yet. Bruce Wayne hasn't made the transition yet.
Right.
And the title of the painting is The Night Before, but it's K-N-I-G-H-T.
Ooh, Ed.
Yeah, I know.
What are you doing to me, man?
He's thinking is what he's doing.
He is.
So that's also on his website. It's just super cool stuff.
It really is. I mean, I like whenever I go to a show and he's there and he's displaying all of his artwork. I love just chatting with him, and his sons are there helping him out. He's a great guy, just phenomenal artist. Just great to have him in this industry. And
then behind you is the orchid. I believe that's the Iron Orchid image, which is a very well known custom hot rod, but Ed depicts it on the streets of Tokyo in that painting. It's crazy colors. Mm-hmm. So very cool stuff. And then on the wall over there behind you are a couple of interesting prints there. So the top one is the 1998 50th anniversary of Hot Rod Magazine cover. That's a cover from the issue. It was never stapled. Wow. It was just printed and framed. And the one right below that is the poster from Hot Rod Magazine's 75th anniversary. So I got the 50th and the 75th. Interestingly, the 50th one on the top was the first issue of Hot Rod I ever worked at.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's killer.
That was my intro to Hot Rod professionally was the 50th. And then the 75th features Gray Baskerville's 32 Ford Roadster. And when editor John McGann was putting together the 75th anniversary episode, they brought back Baskerville's Roadster to SEMA, and I unveiled it at the SEMA reveal on Monday night.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So,
dude,
that was really cool because the car, it's if you know the Baskerville Roadster, it's a 32 Ford with fenders on it and a primer spot and just kind of a mild small block. And he reportedly drove that thing like 230,000 miles.
Holy cats.
He drove it. It was his car. He just drove it everywhere.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And then kind of the nice piece that goes with those two is over here in the library on the bookshelf is the book that Drew Harden wrote, the Hot Rod Magazine 75-year definitive history, which I'm actually in. Drew actually put me in that.
He did. That's right.
Yeah. And a little blurb about Hot Rod Magazine TV. So that was cool.
Very cool. And you get to come and look at this every day.
I do. I finally was able to create a nice space that I've got my desk and some monitors and screens and my space where I can do my little silly designs and I can work on the video and
you just focus on that stuff.
And I have to thank my lovely wife for helping all this come together because this was kind of her idea.
Right.
She's like, you need a better space where you're not distracted. So we're adjacent to the main building at V8 Speed and Resto, and here we are.
Yeah, right on. You've done a lot of really great things in here.
It's getting there. Yeah, it's taken a little while, but there's the Apollo rocket.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Which is the Lego version. It's got to be 3.5 feet tall, and that was a gift from our crew one year. They put that together.
That's amazing.
They've at the holidays, our team at the shop has been really gracious, and they spend time together making things for Kelly and I. And there's been they also did that in the Lego Challenger shuttle. Columbia, I guess, and then the lunar landing module too. They gave me one year.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
And they made Kelly a red pickup truck and some cool stuff. So yeah, no, it's a good deal.
Nice, man. Very cool.
We should do a quick shout out to our buddy Yardley, our official statistician, because he is up to his eyebrow hairs in an engine rebuild now on his Riv.
Right. In his Riviera. It's a 12-second Riviera.
Yeah, it's 69.
Yeah, full body, full interior, 4,500 pound car, screaming down the quarter mile in 12 seconds. That's no easy feat.
Well, stopping it is no easy feat.
Stopping is no easy feat. Yeah,
but yeah, it's a cool car. And every so often he has the urge to tear it down and go through it. So they're going through that right now. And I don't know if our listeners at home, wherever home is, can hear sirens in the background. You hear them?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. So in our locale, in the town of Red Bud, Illinois, where we record this, there are really never sirens going off, especially not for emergency reasons.
Right.
Usually it's because the high school team just did something and they put them all in a fire truck and drive them around.
It doesn't sound like fire truck sirens, though.
Well, let me just peek out the window here. It's very slow, so I don't think... Oh, really? Yeah. It's not like an ambulance whizzing by or something.
Right.
So I think that might be exhibition sirens.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Even here, sirens aren't a bad thing. No. My little fantasy land.
Even the sirens bring good news.
Sirens are sounds of success.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. Speaking of sounds of success, so you're down again, continuing to forge new territory in our parts procurement department.
Yep. I just keep learning, keep getting better. Love working with Brian and Trevor and the rest of the crew. I really like coming down here because it really gives you a chance to, like I said before, to really see these projects, and it's a completely different dynamic than when you're just sitting at a desk by yourself, punching in figures into a spreadsheet and looking up parts. You get to walk around, you get to see these cars, and you get to talk to the technicians and really ask them questions about what they need and what they want and where the project is heading. And it really, really energizes me about just being in this industry and working for you guys. So it's been really great.
That is a great thing. Mm-hmm. And so you're past 6 months.
Yeah.
You're like at 8 months now, huh?
Yeah, I think
coming up.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, it was the excitement of being able to order parts all the time and shop for hot rod parts and car parts and whatnot. But you've come across some of the pitfalls.
Yes, I have. Indeed. We talked a little bit about this today, as a matter of fact. We showcase these cars when they're complete and everything is cool and, upbeat, and we shine it in a positive light. But things go wrong and you have to pivot and you have to adjust. You may get the wrong part. It may come damaged.
That happens? Do you get the wrong part?
Well, they send you the wrong part. I order the right one, but I may be sent the incorrect one.
No, it does happen.
And you got to, readjust and regroup and then, forge ahead and come up with a solution and still keep the project on track and keep the gun loaded, so to speak, as Brian likes to say.
Yeah.
We got to keep the gun loaded so when they're ready for these parts, we can just shoot them out to them.
Well, and so that's the thing. Anybody who works on cars is no stranger to the fact that your part not be here or it's the wrong one. But where the difference is, where it gets stressful, is when you have some technicians that are waiting on that part.
Yes.
And you have a customer that's waiting on the car.
That is real stress right there.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
So in order to mitigate that, it's always good to have plan B, C, and D for other suppliers. Mm-hmm. Or, you tell me you went through a situation, but it sounds like the communication process went well.
It did. And that really punctuates how important it is to partner with really good quality suppliers. Anybody can sell you a part. Not anybody can make good on a mistake that happens, that maybe even out of their out of their hands, where a supplier, so we use a distributor we buy parts through, but their supplier may send the wrong thing. And now our distributor is working with the supplier to make things right on our behalf. So partnering up with those kind of people are what really help guarantee success.
Yeah, you need somebody who can say, okay, I got it. Something didn't come in the box, or the wrong one's in the box, and rather than just say, I don't care.
Right. Sorry, your problem now.
Yeah. And we've had situations in the past where we've gotten something that we weren't sure if it was the right one or not. And I think our friends at OPGI, we actually had them go out into the warehouse and open other boxes, and take pictures of stuff and send them to us, so we can see if we got a weird one, or if they're all that way, or if, it was just a different thing. And, that's something that, if you're working on your project car at home by yourself and you get the wrong thing, it kind of blows your weekend.
Yeah, right.
But again, having multiple people waiting in the wings is where it starts to get a little hairy. So.
Yeah, it's a little stressful.
But you're working on it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. I mean, and you have to. You can't just, quit and say, I can't do that. I mean, you gotta forge through.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think the more you do this, the more of those plan B, C, D, and E sources you're going to get to know the people at. And,
sure.
And it's nice because Brian's been doing this a long time, so he's got a lot of those relationships.
Oh, man.
And then going up the chain to, people that have been here longer. Trevor and Kelly and I certainly know people too. And that's part of my problem with, again, being in this particular room to stay focused on the outbound, direction of this place. I found myself overhearing, people in our shop saying, "Oh, we need to get one of these." And I'm thinking in my mind, yeah, I remember ordering from there once and they didn't have it. So I went to this place, this place, and this place. And this one just came out with one. And I knew that because I saw it at SEMA, but the guy on the floor didn't. Right.
Yeah, but it would really distract your day because you would want to help.
For sure.
You would hear all this stuff and you'd come out and say, "Oh, order from this place and you'll get it quicker and it'll be better and it's better quality." Okay, thanks. And then, something else happens or another discussion's happening that you overhear and you know the answer to, or you know what the outcome needs to be, and you come out and you give your input. And then now you're giving your input and you're helping us all day, but now your stuff's not getting done.
Right. And I really found that, again, I feel just as responsible for everything here as everybody. So if somebody's struggling with a part or a thing, I'm not going to walk past them. I'm going to say,
right,
been there.
Yeah, sorry, I don't see you.
Right. Let's work together and we'll get it together. So there is that tribal knowledge concept that I have, that Kelly has, that you have, that Trevor has, and the goal optimally is to be able to just plug into that so that everybody somehow wakes up on a Tuesday and knows everything that everybody else knows at the same time. That would be sweet.
Yeah.
It ain't going to happen.
No.
But I have to kind of step back and just throw the seeds out to that kind of stuff.
And hopefully they take hold and germinate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So instead of, making the call for the person,
right,
just say, hey, look into this over here. And that person do it. And that person grows.
Yeah. Yeah. When you do it for them, they don't get better.
No. Yeah. And then I also realized that by allowing myself to be involved in those conversations and those strategies and those, problem solving conversations, which I love. We all.
Oh, you love solving problems. I do too. I mean, I love it. It's my favorite.
It's why we work on these cars. I was thinking I was supporting the team, but in reality, I was letting the team down by not doing the other stuff that I'm responsible for. So when I moved out of the main building and into this room, I want to say I got probably 40% of my day back. And now I'm able to work on these projects and things that, I just didn't have the time for because I was always, overhearing and getting involved. And you know what? The great thing about it is the place is doing great. They don't need me overhearing all that.
I mean, that's what you want. You want your shop to be to be self-sufficient, where you don't have to, be meddling into everything.
Well, I don't know if meddling was the right word, but and I don't want to sound like I had any fear that that it was going to come apart if I wasn't there. I knew everybody would be fine. Mm-hmm. I just have to, I guess
sometimes it's hard to let go.
It's a little tough love. You got to let somebody bump into the wall a couple times.
Yes.
But then they're fine. And really, we haven't had much of that, so that's good. Pursuing forward into 2024 as we record this on our 20th year in business here.
Yeah.
We talked about it at the PRI podcast episode we did last time. I will be launching. So for those who are listening, who are also on our V8 Speed and Resto Shop email list, I suggest you get on that. Because you need more spam, right?
Yeah.
It's not just for breakfast anymore. I'm going to be sending out a link in our email newsletter to the timeline that I've been working on. Of pivotal moments, if you will, over the course of this company. And there's some cool pictures and stories and videos and stuff that it's been fun. It's been a lot of work to go back and go, oh my gosh, do you remember that? But that's really a great way to get perspective.
For sure.
To see how and why we do things the way we do today. Mm-hmm. We learn everything the hard way, man. And that's okay, But getting back to that tribal knowledge concept, it's like, here's the reason why I'm telling you it's a little easier, faster, different, better, whatever. And we have photographic and video proof of all this stuff. So I'm in the process, personally in 24 of digitizing and capturing so much of the media that I've had kind of floating around. And we're talking audio cassettes that go back to when I was 5 years old.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. 8mm analog video, so like the Sony format.
Yeah.
VHS tape, of course. A whole bunch of slide photography that's getting scanned. And cracking into our library of mini DV tapes, which is the tape format that we started doing VATV on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's been a journey because, to circle back to the space program, NASA kind of got their ass handed to them one time because they said they lost the technology to go back to the moon. You ever hear that statement?
Oh, yeah, I think I have.
Yeah. Somebody's like, why don't we go back to the moon tomorrow? And they're like, well, we lost that technology. Well, they didn't lose the technology. Uh-huh. They just don't have those old systems plugged in and running anymore.
Right.
And I'm in the same boat. See how I equate myself to NASA?
Nice.
I have a cassette deck sitting on the shelf that I haven't used in 20 years. So I go to pop a tape in it, and of course it doesn't work. So you got to disassemble it and buy belts and clean it.
Oh, right.
Put new, fix it and calibrate it. And now it works great. Cool. Same thing with a VHS player. I didn't have a VHS deck laying around anymore. I've had thousands of these things.
Right.
So I had to jump on eBay and find a good SV, a Super VHS deck to transfer my stuff from these old tapes to digital so I can do something with them again.
Killer.
And also the mini DV player. The interesting thing about that is I used a camera. At the time, it was one of the industry standard Panasonic DVX100 standard def digital video cameras. And what they always told us is that you record it with the camera, but you play the tapes back with a different deck.
Okay.
And it keeps the camera head alive.
Oh, really?
Longer, yeah.
All right.
So I'm looking at this stuff, and I used to have this, I call it a clamshell, a little player that you flip open. It's got a 4-inch screen and a tape player. And that's what I would use to transfer the footage when we were shooting our first episodes of VATV.
Oh, man.
Pop the tape in this little clamshell deck connected to the computer. And then it's a real time. If you had a half an hour tape, it took a half an hour to bring in.
Sure.
Played it, went across. And that little playback deck I still have, and it's junk. It doesn't work. And I talked to a repair shop, and they're like, yeah, you can't even get the parts to fix that anymore.
Oh, no.
It's a Sony thing and whatever. So I thought, I'm kind of out of luck. Well, the camera, I still have the camera, which has like never been used to play anything back.
Okay.
I never did.
So the playhead is pristine, right?
It works awesome.
Yeah.
So I started with playing back and capturing a few of the original tapes. And these go back to 2006, 2005, early 2005. And I did say that this is our 20th year. We were in business. It took us a year to get the show off the ground. So we didn't hit the airwaves in 2005, but we were in 4. But
you were still a real entity.
Yeah, we were incorporated in the whole thing. So I started to do some math on all this stuff, and I realized that we were shooting the VATV half-hour television show, which aired twice, a new show every 2 weeks on the Men's Outdoors and Recreation channel, on Dish Network satellite, on DirecTV, and on some cable systems around the country, which is how you saw us a million years ago. So I would shoot these tapes and then edit them on, back then I was using an Apple Final Cut Pro software, and then dumping them off to a Betacam SP tape, which is another stack of tapes that I have.
Right.
And then shipping those to the network on FedEx, and then they would air them. And then I'd make another copy and lay it back off to another mini DV tape. So I had all the source tapes, and I had the finished show. Well, in 2006, we were working on the Royal Sport Camaro, which was the first car that we built.
Right.
And I decided to do a daily video blog update.
I think I've seen a few of those.
Well, the interesting thing is I differentiated the footage. We would shoot like what I was calling the nicer footage for the TV show, because back then you couldn't just point a camera at yourself and talk to it and have a network air it.
Right.
They wouldn't do it.
Yeah, you have to have some kind of production value to it.
And I honestly think one of the shows that broke that barrier was the Extreme Home Makeover show with Ty Pennington.
Ty Pennington, yeah.
Because he always used to hold his little camera and talk to it on set, right? And I don't remember that happening, before that. But there was this thing, the internets and digital video and streaming, was just kind of getting started. So I would edit the daily blogs minimally. And at the end of the night, we would just shoot for 5 or 10 minutes, recap of what we did. And then I would upload those to our own website, because we didn't even have a YouTube channel yet.
Right. Oh my gosh.
And YouTube went public for like beyond beta testing in late 05. And then by 06, they were starting to kind of get the ball rolling. And that is when we were producing these. Our YouTube channel started in 07. And
boy.
And in 07, we were doing the same thing with the 69 Chevelle project, the next one that we did, our second car. And I was shooting these nightly video blogs.
You started re-releasing those a little bit.
Yeah. So I put those on YouTube in 07. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't have any evidence that says otherwise, I think we were the first daily build video blog.
Wow.
On the internet. At least on YouTube.
Right.
And we were publishing them a year before we were putting them on YouTube in 06.
That's nuts, dude.
It's pretty crazy to think about that.
That is crazy.
And they were fun. They were goofy. And so with today's technology, so back then, YouTube you couldn't even upload a standard def video to YouTube.
Really?
So today we're talking, 1080's garbage and everything's 4K and 8K.
Right.
Well, standard def was 720 by 480.
Oh, okay.
A high def technically comes in at 1080 by 1920. Back then, it was 720 480 was known as DV. It was kind of the digital video standard.
Okay.
YouTube was like 320 by 240.
Oof.
It was very small and very pixelated and a very low bandwidth. So the quality was garbage.
Sure.
And today, and those videos are still up, by the way. You go to VATV and sort the videos by date, and you can start right at the beginning.
Oh, wow.
And some of the comments are like, "What did you shoot this on a phone potato?" Well, back then phones weren't shooting video yet either.
Right, yeah, no doubt.
So Kelly actually started watching them. I watched a few of them on the Chevelle, and I thought these are actually pretty fun. They were, again, the world went full circle because I was editing and, real microphones and lights and the whole thing to put together the television episodes. And then we would just put all that stuff aside and walk around with the camera and shoot the other stuff. And I never thought that those type of videos would be very popular because I'm like, they look like garbage. There's a lens flare. You can see the camera stand. The microphone is just on top of the camera.
We're professionals, people. We can't have this.
Well, when you do it on a professional level, you spend a lot of time to make sure that you don't have a shadow or a glint of light or any of this stuff. And now by just run and gun walking around, you just throw all that out the window.
Right.
So by watching one of these recently and seeing the low resolution and it doesn't look good, it really kind of relies more on the story of what's happening.
Yeah.
But that was like, what if I go back and recapture all those original source tapes, and now I have technology that'll up-res that stuff to high def.
Oh, yeah, you do.
And I have digital audio technology that will equalize the sound levels and make it sound 1,000,000 times better.
Digitally remastered.
That's right.
V8 TV, man.
That's right, man. And so I'm going to be re-releasing a lot of those earlier series throughout the year on our V8 TV YouTube channel and also on our website. And I'm also going to be releasing the entire television episodes as well, which we never did on YouTube back then. Primarily because it took for a half an hour video, YouTube wouldn't take it.
Oh, really?
There was back then.
It was like a 10-minute limit or something?
It was less than that. It was like 5 minutes, I think. And then it went to 10. And then if you put enough up, they gave you a 15. And then eventually became unlimited. So not only would they not take it, but it would also take probably all night to upload it.
Oh, wow.
Actually, to compress it. So from taking it on the computer and saying, okay, I'm going to output this into a file that I can upload to YouTube, that output compression process took forever.
Oh, boy.
So now it's like instant. It's crazy how far this stuff has come.
Really? Really? It is.
Yeah, and I hate to sound like, get off my lawn.
I remember when.
Yeah, kids today. But it's true. So it's going to be kind of fun. And I've been able to, now today you look at the most popular YouTube channels and it's some person walking around talking to a camera. How about that? Hey. 20 years ahead behind.
Yeah, right.
Again. So that's it's been pretty exciting. In addition to finding all of these old audio recordings and home things from high school and college and cars that I used to have and all this junk.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I love it. So
you'll know if you join the V8 Speed and Resto Shop email list, because that's probably the most universal way to get it out. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you're going to get the update, but that'll show you the videos, but it won't necessarily show you some of the pictures and other junk.
Yeah, just go to v8speedshop.com and you can sign up for the newsletter right there.
Yeah, the nag screen pops up.
Is that what you call it? The nag screen?
That's what it is. It's a nag screen. It's a black thing that pops up. It says, don't miss out. Well, it's not lying. It's annoying, but it's not lying. It's like some people I know, they're annoying, but they're not lying.
That's funny. The first time I saw that, I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
See?
I'm already a subscriber.
Yeah, I wish it knew better if you already were. But there's a little X up in the upper right-hand corner.
Yeah, you just knock it out.
You don't have to, But that's also where you get your latest V8 Radio episodes, in addition to when you subscribe to this show, which, of course, you already are. We know that. And all the rest of it. So a lot going on already this year.
Yeah. It's just getting started.
It is. And we're getting ready to send home the 71 Olds Cutlass Supreme convertible project.
Boy, howdy. Is that a looker of a car?
Yeah, that car really is different in the standpoint that this is it's a green 71 Cutlass Supreme. It's not a 442. It's not an SX.
Right.
It's not, a Rally Olds or, any of the high horsepower things. It's a Cutlass Supreme. And the owner's had it since 1973. And it's his car, man. Loves his car and wanted it new again. So he brought it to us, and we did a full frame off, restoration on it. Rebuilt the original 350, which is cool. But did a roller cam upgrade and an intake and electronic fuel injection on it, and made it modernized. Replaced all the stuff on it and added vintage air, and it's sitting on an original chassis with QA1 suspension, so there's sway bars and coilovers and their adjustable rear control arms and all that jazz. But one of the craziest things about this car are the wheels.
They are different.
For us.
For you guys. Yeah, for us, you guys. I'm you guys.
You're one of us now,
God
man.
dang it.
It's only been 8 months.
I'm you guys. But yeah, it's definitely a bit of a departure from what a car that normally comes out of this shop would be wearing.
Yeah, because either, usually it's going to be a set of Forge Line, race wheels, or a set of stock original, hubcaps and Steelies or something. Right. But in this case, the owner wanted wire wheels. And we all kind of cringed because none of us are really wire wheel fans on American cars anyway. And his motivation was, I think when he got the car, it had, or he sent over a picture of the 67 Oldsmobile wire hubcap.
Hubcaps, yeah.
Yeah. And those are garbage. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
It's like the fake convertible top thing to me.
Yes. Thank you. That's exactly what that is. That has bothered me since the first time I saw like a Cadillac or an old Buick with that fake convertible top on there. It drives me crazy.
Yeah. What are you trying to prove here? Because convertibles with the top up don't look good.
Right.
Normally. I mean, that's not the selling point. If you want to enhance the car, don't put whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's like, I like these caps with the wires, but I would like to get real wire wheels. And we were like, oh boy. And to make the process, for the story a little bit shorter, we ended up getting a set of custom made Dayton wire wheels. And they're 17s. And they have chrome spokes, and it's not the million straight spoke,
right?
donk style wheel. It kind of harkens back more to the Kelsey Hayes 60s style, wheels,
right?
Which would have been a 14-inch, really small with a spinner cap on it. These don't have the spinners. But it's a true knockoff. It is a knockoff wheel.
Is it really?
Yeah. And instead of having the spinner knockoff, if you look closely, the center of that is a hex, and it releases and spins off. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the crowning thing that makes these wire wheels look so good, I think, is that it's not a 442. It is a Supreme. So it doesn't have stripes or anything,
right?
Racy looking on the car. It's just a classic shape of the car. And the plating is brilliant and they're beautiful, but the owner figured out a way to incorporate the Oldsmobile Rocket logo onto that spinner cap cover. So it's a CAD designed, 3D printed Olds Rocket that was printed in brass or bronze, where it got plated, chrome plated.
Oh, wow.
And then jeweler's enamel painted in around the red so that it shines through the plate. It looks like an Oldsmobile logo, like it came from Olds on this wire wheel. So now all of a sudden it looks factory, but it's a little bit bigger and it's got a little bit of a dish.
Yep.
And it's on a more modern tire. And we got
white stripe tire.
Yeah, a little thin white stripe tire. And you couple that with the QA1 slightly lowered suspension. And then the amazing bodywork and paint job that the shop did.
Just stop it right there, pal, because that stuff is next level. That paint, oh my gosh, out in the sunlight, heavens to Betsy, it just sparkles like a bloody diamond.
Yeah, so the color is green. It's basically the original color hue, 1971 lime green, but they didn't make that formula anymore. So you got to mix a modern version of it, essentially. Of course, it's also a 2-stage with a clear. And Jeff, our painter, I believe he cocktailed the metallic pigment just a touch and threw a little gold into it so that it lights up. And it looks like a diamond golden apple.
Oh, my gosh. A diamond golden apple.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
And the convertible top is white, and the interior is like pearl white.
Yeah, I remember that pearl interior. Yep.
So when you look at this high contrast color scheme with those wires, all of a sudden this car just looks so good.
It's a great contrast, that white with that green.
Yeah.
Looks so good.
And again, it wouldn't have been my speed,
Yeah.
So we say a 350 Cutlass convertible, you're like, yeah, cool. A friend of mine had one of those. It was a fun car.
Yeah.
It's what you start with to build something out of it.
Right. We're going to clone the heck out of this thing.
Yeah, we're going to put an outside air induction hood and a wing and super stock 2 wheels on it and a 455.
Hood locks on it, the whole shebang.
Yeah, no, this car's got none of that. And if you take this to an event, you could park it with all those other ones. And people are going to just stare at this one.
Drool all over it.
Yeah, it's because it's just done right. So it's very exciting. That's a video series that's going to come. Well, the build story video will be coming out soon on that car because I just want to share that with everybody because it's just so neat. And I took some fun trick photos of the thing the other day, and you'll have to tune in to see that too.
Yeah.
I can't really show you that here on the podcast. I haven't gotten to that technology.
I actually shared that picture with my that you sent me to my buddy Roberts, and he.
Did you remember the first line of text in that when I sent it to you?
Well, he's kind of in the family. I didn't share it publicly. I just shared it with one person.
No, that's fine. Robert's a great guy, for sure. He's helped us out. What do you think?
Oh, he loved it. Yeah. He was gaga over it.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't want to really let the cat out of the bag, but it's some photography that is pretty striking.
Definitely. That's an understatement.
I was out of town over the weekend enjoying a get-together with some college buddies in Colorado, and some were skiing, and I was actually working on that image on my laptop sitting in a bar at the bottom of a ski slope. So the people around me are not car people.
That's right.
It's families that are trying to ski and the whole thing. And I got my laptop open. I'm sitting there and I'm fully zoomed in because I'm down to the pixel level of editing little things. And I'd zoom out, and this guy comes past and he's like, "What is that?"
Nice.
And I said, "Well, that's a 71 Olds Cutlass." And he's like, "That." And he looked at me like, "What's an Oldsmobile?" I mean, like, really? But he was like, "I can't stop looking at that. Is that for? Do you own that? Sure. Is that for sale? Is that?" He thought it was AI generated. He thought it was
really.
Yeah, he thought it was a digital rendering of some
sort. Buddy, that's a real car.
Not only is it a real car, but the photos are real pictures too. It's not effects. Right. There's some technique, but there's not. Click this and have unicorns popping out of the hood.
Right.
So it's. Again, the photography in an interesting way blends the spirit of the car, where it's the classic original presentation just done in a modern way that is unusual, and we're all very excited about it. We're very fortunate that the owner let us do that car the way that it came out, because when it came in, I think it was just coming in for suspension.
Oh, wow.
And it ended up getting the whole ride.
The whole shebang.
Which happens.
Yeah, it does happen. Well, 9 times out of 10, when somebody's bringing a car in and they want something done, you start digging into the car, but then you find more that you didn't know was wrong with it, that the owner didn't know was wrong. It's like, yeah, we're digging into this. We found this. Do you want us to fix it? Well, yeah, I want you to fix it. That's got to be right.
Yeah,
and things can snowball a little bit if you're not careful. But at the end of it, you get a really great car.
Well, and so I think that is 100% true. But also, what we find is that when you bring something important to a shop, and this guy has had this car again since '73. I mean, half a century. So a lot of times people don't want to just say, yeah, I'm dropping this off and just go do the whole car.
Right.
Because they don't know who you are.
Correct.
And they don't know what this process is going to be. So they start with something small.
I see.
And kind of try you on, and let's do the suspension. And I think we did. We bolted on the QA1 stuff on the original Rusty frame. I remember doing it.
Oh, wow.
And I think he kind of enjoyed the way that Joe, our sales and customer relationship guy, communicated with him, and he respected the insights of our team. And, he had questions and they got answered, and there was good communication. He could follow with the photographs, and he was comfortable with going further. And that's how that one grew, because in the back of his mind, when he first dropped it off, I know he's thinking, boy, it'd be great if I could have this whole car done.
Right.
But I don't know these guys.
But I don't want to maybe trust them with the whole thing, and
for sure.
They tear it apart and then it ends up in purgatory.
How many times have we heard these stories? Cars go into paint jail, or you don't know the stability of the shop, or whatever. So in recent history, we've had many of that same exact story. So that white 64 Corvette with the asymmetric stripe pattern, that came in for brakes.
Oh my!
Ended up getting the full ride because the exact same thing. Hey, I like what you guys are doing. While you're there, can you do this? I'm comfortable with you guys. I appreciate it, and we appreciate working with him, and that turns into a big job. Now, of course, there are times, and as a business that is interested in efficiently getting from point A to point B on a project, we certainly appreciate if somebody says, "No, I want my ultimate vision is to have this thing completely restored."
Right.
So you're not going backwards on stuff.
Right. Yes. Because that does happen.
Yeah. Like, for example, on the olds, we put the suspension on and then got further into it and decided to, have the chassis media blasted. And so it had to come back out.
Yep.
Not the end of the world, but
right.
So there are, of course, many cars that people come to us. We plan the whole restoration all the way to the end before we even...
Sure.
In some cases, before the guy even owns the car.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, find me a Firebird.
Yep. And then we're going to build it this way.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, too. You know?
Yeah, because you can kind of help control what you start with.
Right.
The nicer your car you start with, the better the project's going to go, typically.
Yes. And thankfully, in those situations, when people just want a particular car, we can find a good one and save them time on replacing rust and all the rest of it. Now, many times they bring us a car and this is the car that we're going to do because this is the one.
Right. This is a family heirloom car. I have to build this car.
Yes.
Not one like it, this one.
Yeah. And you have the conversation with them that, this car, it may be pretty rough and you might not spend as much if you allow us to find another one. And
we've had that.
We have had that.
With that Charger. You remember that?
Yes, we just went through this. Yeah.
A guy brought his Charger in. He owned it in college.
Yep.
Since college, and it was in storage forever, and it was just languishing. And he wanted to get it all redone, and he brought it in, and we looked at it and we evaluated it and decided it's a little too far gone for what it's going to take to get it back up to where you want it. I mean, you're gonna. Yeah. It's pretty much a rebody at this point. It was just so chewed up. Yeah, and that's possible to fix. Sure. But it's going to take a lot more resources. A lot more resources. And luckily he understood that and he said, okay, we're going to find another car. Yes. So, which is great to hear. It is. And yeah, not screw you, I'm taking my project somewhere else. Right. It's, I hear you. I'm sure he appreciated us being so candid with him and not just saying, oh yeah, we'll fix all this. And, $500,000 later, he rolls out with a good looking $40,000 Charger. Right. Well, and that's the thing is, we're very fortunate that we have work to do. We have a lot of stuff to do around here. Mm-hmm. So, not to sound, flippant about it or arrogant about it, but we're not looking to take in every project. Correct. Because if it's not the right car or the right customer or the right overall agreement on what needs to happen, it's not going to end well. And we don't like that. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that. So we in this case, exactly. We weren't out, trying to argue with the guy
and talk them into doing anything on this, it's much better to say, all right, this might not be the right one. Understand the sentimental value. Keep it, bring it home. You can still have your old car, but if you want one to drive, let's help you find one. And he was on board with that, which is good.
Yeah, it is good. So hope we get. I know that you guys have been in talks, so I hope we're able to land on something and get it in here. I would really love that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that also kind of comes with being in business for a while. There are a lot of startups out there that would do anything they could to cut their teeth on a car like that, to prove they could do it.
Sure.
Or because they don't have anything else.
Right.
Right. And those are the ones where the shop starts pushing the agenda on the customer.
Right.
And that's not good.
Or worse yet, they start robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Oh, that's really not good.
Oh, not at all. So
yeah. And that concept too is kind of interesting of whose agenda is this. And there's sometimes, especially in cars that evolve, there's oftentimes a fine line where an owner will say, well, I want this. And we look at it and say, we recommend you do something else instead, like a different product or different horsepower level or whatever. And there are shops out there that you basically pay them for their design and their build. And the analogy is like, you don't. Maybe you did. Did you commission Michelangelo? Was he commissionable?
Maybe
Picasso.
He painted the Sistine Chapel. The church probably commissioned him to do that. Right?
I guess so. Yeah. I think it was a commission from God. But I mean, like Picasso's going to paint whatever he wants, and you're going to buy it. That kind of thing.
Right.
And there's shops out there that they're going to build whatever car. You're just going to pay them, and then you better like it when it's done.
Yeah, they build what they build.
Yeah,
and if you want what I build, come on in.
Right. Which it's a nice place to be, because then the builder, hopefully, if they've got some good vision and taste and quality, then you're going to get something that's really really nice. The flip side of that is when the owner wants to dictate every single decision and not listen to the experience of the builder and say, no, I need to have brand whatever. In fact, we had a car in here, as a matter of fact, that the customer did not. It was an LS conversion on a Chevrolet, and the guy did not like the manufacturer of an oil pan.
Really?
Wouldn't use it. It was the best solution for his car. Wouldn't use it. Okay, so what did we have to do? A lot of cutting and welding and grinding to make something else fit. Well, we did it,
Sure.
But at the end of the day, we thought, so now we have a customer who is not respecting our expertise level, our experience level, and our abilities, and is going to dictate how this is going to go, even if it's not necessarily the best way to do it. And that's really not cool either.
No, it's not.
We all have to work together on this stuff and say, okay, here's what we're trying to do, and if it's okay with you, you know, and
you have to treat it like a partnership, because that's in essence what it is. You have to listen to each other.
Yeah,
and because you both want to build a great car.
For sure.
Yeah. You don't want one person just dictating all the terms of it. That's just, if I were your customer and you were to do that to me, say, okay, this is what we're going to do to your GTO, and you really don't have any say in it, and we're going to build it the way we want to build it. And then I get my car back, and it's not my car. It has none of me in it.
No, that'd be bad.
Yeah, it'd be terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you'd build me a hell of a car because I know what you do here. But the analogy is just that. So,
and the funny thing is that happened repeatedly with the Overhauling TV show.
Oh, really?
Right. So here's a person, and I remember they did a car at the SEMA show live. It was a 67 Barracuda, I believe. Mm-hmm. And it was, I don't know, I think it was red when it came in, and they redid it and it was black. And it, new wheels, and so it was a beautiful car under the design of Chip Foose and a team that put it all together. And when it was done, they presented it back to the guy that they, quote unquote, stole it from. And he's like, oh, yeah,
well,
that's not my car.
Yeah.
Right.
That's tough, man.
And it's worse if, I guess if you're paying somebody and they're not listening to you or whatever. So, but again, there are those who say, hey, you know what? I love Rad Rides by Troy. Mm-hmm. I don't care what he builds. I'm going to love it.
Yeah. Again, the other side of that is, I want a Rad Rides car.
Yes. I want a Ferrari. I'm not standing there telling him how to build it.
Right.
So we're definitely not Ferrari over here. Mm-hmm. But we have, I will certainly say we have the ability, and I have over 100 cars banked of designs and concepts and ideas that if somebody said, hey, what would you do? Give me some parameters. If you were going to do a 3-door Suburban from the late 60s, what would you do? I got it. I mean, I could start on that today and not have to call the customer at all. You just tell me what color you want. It's going to be black. But, tell me what color you want.
Any color you want as long as it's black.
and we'll deliver this thing and it's going to be dynamite. But that is also not somebody's family heirloom.
Right. True.
That's a custom built car. Mm-hmm. And everything we do here has full customer approval. Mm-hmm. So if the customer says, hey, I'm running for brakes, let's do suspension. We'll talk about it, present, discuss, and whatever. And we've been very fortunate that we've had great partnerships with customers that say, hey, except for that oil pan situation. Right. But that was early on, and we learned from that, where it's like, I know you don't like this company.
Right. He must have had some vendetta against that company or something.
Well, he did, and I respect that, right? Mm-hmm. Because if somebody says, we're going to put, Heinz ketchup on your car, and I don't like Heinz ketchup, I'm going to say, no, you're not going to put that crap in my car, even if it's the right one. Mm-hmm. So I understand that. I think today we might have been able to navigate that by saying, well, tell you what, if I buy a used one, you're not paying that company directly anymore.
True.
But now we could come to the happy medium of getting the outcome that everybody wants. Sure. And it might be, and today, so you deal with it on the parts side. It's like, hey, I'd really like to have brand X suspension, and you call up and it's like, we're 12 weeks out, but tomorrow I can have you this, and from a clear lens, they're comparable.
Sure.
So it's all the priority juggling that comes in.
Oh yeah, there's some of that, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah, how about it?
But we've got a lot of great projects going on in the shop right now. So one rolled up today, man.
Oh, dang it! That a lot of people in our shop was just a buzz when that thing rolled up.
Awesome.
One of our mechanics says, "Holy cow! I didn't know that was a wagon."
Yeah.
Oh man, he was just geeked about it. And so was I when it rolled up. I'm like, I love wagons.
Yeah.
This thing was amazing. So clean.
Yeah. So it's a 63 Buick LeSabre wagon. And it's a factory bucket seat car with a short console and a tilt wheel and a 401 nail head motor. And it's
got slotted mags.
It's got slotted mags. Here's one where I might maybe suggest a different wheel choice.
Maybe, but I'm a sucker for slotted mags. I love them.
I think he just put those on. Because
really?
in our original communication with this guy, so this customer is actually a repeat. We're building another car for him too right now too, which is also very cool. The 49
Oh yeah,
Olds.
the 49 Olds. Yeah, delivery wagon.
Delivery, yeah. You don't see those either. And it's got its original motor in it. But the wagon, the Buick wagon had more, I think it had a torque thrust or a gray centered torque thruster, a rocket on it that looked really cool.
Yeah,
too.
that's pretty cool too.
But this one came in for basically a strip and repaint, and we're going to fix some trim on it and do a few things. And him and his wife love to drive this car and put a lot of miles on it. And it doesn't have an overdrive, so it kind of needs that too.
Yeah.
So there's a few things that I would love to recommend that he can tell me to go jump off a cliff, but I know they would add to what his experience, what he's going for.
Sure.
And it was fun because we have a younger gal that works in our warehouse. She's also trained as a mechanic. Her name is Kaylee, and Kaylee is now doing some of our intake photography. So when a car arrives, it's her job to get all the pictures of how it looked the second it got here. She did a great job, 175 frames.
Phenomenal job, yeah.
And it was great because she's early 20s.
Yeah.
And she's like, I've never seen one of these before, which was cool. I mean, the owner was telling me, I think there was only 4,500 of those wagons made or something.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have never seen them before.
Sure.
But she dug it, which was cool. Younger people seeing these cars. And
that is really, really neat for me to see that. And it helps perpetuate this to the next generation. So that's phenomenal.
Yeah. So a lot of fun stuff going on. This coming weekend, in 2024, there is so much happening around here in the business that I've made a vow to travel less.
And you already broke it.
I know, and I'm breaking it again this weekend.
Yep.
Really, I mean, I love to do all the events and go everywhere, but when you're out of the office for 4 or 5 days,
it gets tough.
Essentially helping somebody else grow their business, which is cool. Mm-hmm. But we've got a lot to do here. But this weekend is the Grand National Roadster Show in Pomona, and our painter Jeff has not been to that show before. And this one is going to have not only your America's Most Beautiful Roadster Show contenders and the Al Sloniker Award contenders, but they're also doing a giant original Pro Street display.
Get out of here. Are they really?
They are. And people are trucking those cars to the West Coast. And many of those cars have never been to the West Coast. Pro Street is, it's a Midwest thing.
Yeah. And
East Coast. Not exclusively, but mostly. So Jeff knows a lot of those cars, our painter, and he's going to see them again and talk to some. We're going to do a couple shop tours, hopefully, and go do donuts at the Donut Derelicts. And
nice.
We'll be there for 3 days, in and out. So it's and we might go to In-N-Out Burger too, as I say that.
Well,
kind of have to.
That's cool. A friend of mine, Rob Veneziano, he has a '69 Pro Street Camaro that he drags and he runs 9s in it.
Yeah.
He built it in the 90s, a legit Pro Street car, hasn't changed
a thing.
A thing.
Yeah.
In 30 years. It's crazy.
Those cars, there's a lot of them that are still like that. So out there is going to be Matt and Debbie Hayes' Thunderbird, the pink Thunderbird. And they recently bought Rick Dauberton's Pontiac J2000.
Oh, yeah.
With the flip,
that's right.
The flip top, funny car looking thing. So those two cars now live in the same garage.
That's insane.
That's mind-bending.
Yeah.
They'll both be out there. And a whole long list. I think Rocky Robertson's Buick, the V6 powered car, which is a local car to us, basically. And it's going out there and down the line. So I'm going to shoot some video and photos and stuff.
Nice.
Maybe we could set up a little podcast out there doing remote.
Yeah.
We'll see who I can grab.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
So Kelly's doing some work with the SEMA HRIA, Hot Rod Industry Alliance. They're doing a roundtable of some builders out there. Mm-hmm. And she'll be working with that and a bunch of stuff. So we'll have definitely more on the next episode of
Killer.
There's always a lot of nonsense going around here to share. So appreciate those opportunities.
Very cool.
You know what else is very cool?
Tell me, Kevin, what else is very cool?
The riveting answers to our trivia questions.
Yes. Yes, they are. All right. So let's get into it. So I asked you, what was the first Corvette whose transmission was only available as an automatic?
Wait a minute. Back it up. Was it the first one? So you said the only generation? Was that
first?
The first.
Yeah. First year, you could only get an automatic.
Yeah, there could be a trickery there too, because I think the first one might have been a Glide. What's the answer, Mr. Cueball?
Well, Kevin.
Jeez.
You said the C8 Corvette, and while that's correct, you can only get that as an automatic. There's no clutch pedal. I think it's like a dual
magic.
Yeah, dual magic.
Dual widget thing.
Yeah, widgety thing. However, that is not correct. The first Corvette that was only available with an automatic transmission was the 1982 Corvette with the 700 R4.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that?
82.
82 was kind of a weird year. It had the crossfire injection.
Yep.
Had the automatic. Then all that transferred over to the 84 because there was no 83, as we know.
Yeah, it was the last C3.
Yeah.
This is Trevor. You're saying
it's not Trevor.
Trevor and I have had this discussion in my old office where there was all the distractions, and that's why I forgot.
No, this one was all me. I was hearing something. I was watching some kind of video, and it mentioned that. I'm like, boom, trivia.
All right. Well, do me a favor. Tomorrow, when you see Trevor, before this airs, go ask him that.
Okay. I will do that.
He's going to know it.
Of course he is. Trevor flipping knows everything.
All right. Well, thanks for the Corvette trivia.
Yeah, man. I'll try to wean off of that.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Meanwhile, Oldsmobile revolutionized the big car ride with the exclusive new blank system in which you majestically proclaimed the Apollo Ride suspension system.
It should be that, even though it isn't. It should be.
We'll put a pin in that for a second.
Okay.
In fact, that is not correct, unfortunately.
How about that?
They called it the G-Ride.
The G-Ride?
The G-Ride system. And in the 1971 Oldsmobile brochure, they have a cutaway of a 71 Delta 88 and a paragraph that says, G-forces, as engineers refer to them, affect the way a car behaves as it moves over bumps, rounds corners, and speeds up or slows down. Olds engineers are constantly working to control the effect of these G-forces on cars so that drivers and passengers get a more balanced and smoother ride. For 71, a new ride system has been developed for all full-size Oldsmobiles. It's called G-Ride. It's a combination of Olds innovations and advancements shown and explained below in the picture that make all these models ride smoother, corner better, take hills better, and handle better in stiff crosswinds.
Oh, no my. What, are we flying?
Well, you float down the road
apparently
in
so.
a 7188. So it's funny to me how the term, the G machine,
right,
which is a synonym for pro touring car, which is something with a really tight, stiff suspension. And back in 71, Oldsmobile thought it meant don't get blown in the wind.
Right. Watch the crosswinds.
But I will say the Apollo tie-in in 1971, look at that right there on the wall. There's a picture of Neil and Buzz on the moon. On the moon on my wall. This would have been probably the last time they could have gotten away with that because this is when public interest first started to nose over a little bit on moon landings. And, by 72, we were out.
Pretty much done, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So, you'll have to contact Mr. Yards.
Yeah. Well, when you asked that question, I was trying to think of something, and I looked over and I saw your Saturn V rocket. I said, we're going to call it the Apollo.
There you go. Also, at that point, not in 71, by 73, there was the Buick Apollo.
True, yes. Yes, there was the Buick Apollo.
Which was basically a Buick Nova.
Yep. A Buick Nova.
But the funny thing is, when you look at the space program Apollo stuff, so it was like a lot of Buick. So the GSX had the Stage 1 engine.
True, yeah.
With the dealer installed optional Stage 2. And the cars were only available in Saturn Yellow.
And
Apollo White. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Interesting.
So they would have had to fist fight their friends at Oldsmobile for the Apollo ride.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. They would have.
I didn't give you enough time to think about it. It's okay.
That's all right. No worries. You could have given me a year and a half and I wouldn't have gotten that right.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either, to be honest with you. I don't see G's when I see.
Yeah.
Sometimes I say G's. Jeez, look at that thing going on a turn.
Look at how it handles that stiff crosswind.
Yeah, jeez.
Staying right on the road.
The guy's about to fall out of that thing. All right. Well, this was fun.
This is great, man. I'm glad we got to do this. It's been a hot minute again since our last show.
Yes, it has. Appreciate the opportunity to break in the space with this first podcast recording. It certainly won't be the last, and we'll go from there.
Dig it.
If you enjoyed the show, and how could you not? Really, I mean, if you ask yourself honestly.
To laugh a minute.
If you play it real fast. You can subscribe, and it'll show up automatically. And here's some giant news, by the way, on
Tell
that.
Me. Oh, boy.
Our friends at Apple are now posting transcripts of
Really?
podcasts. Yeah, and I don't know if we qualify. I don't know what the qualification is, but I got a thing in the mail saying that they're going to be posting transcripts. So now you can read along in silence if you need to.
Isn't it great? Isn't it grand?
And see what the AI translator came up with.
Oh, man.
What they think we said.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a fun contest. And get the transcript, the closed captioning version, if you will, so you could just sit in silence and read the V8 radio.
Read it as it goes by. I mean, how exciting. I never thought we could elevate this show. And
hey,
here
man,
it is.
There it is, stage 3.
Stage 3.
Just whizzing by.
Oh, there's whiz, all right.
And on that note, that's about all I got. Thanks for tuning in to the V8 Radio Podcast. I'm Kevin Oeste for Mr. Mike Q-Ball Clarke, reminding you to always aim for the stars, or at least the bowl. We'll see you next time.